The Heart Rhythm Society's 40th annual scientific sessions, where the finest clinicians, scientists, researchers, and innovators in the field of cardiac pacing and electrophysiology have convened in San Francisco, California. Here to cover topic areas such as pacing, defibrillation, clinical arrhythmia management, ablation, pharmacology, genetics, basic science, health policy, and more. Heart Rhythm TV starts right now. Hello and welcome to day one of Heart Rhythm TV. I'm Dr. Kevin Campbell, ready to bring you everything you need to know from this year's meeting. Today we get the chance to speak with the new CEO of the Heart Rhythm Society, talk to the Society's president, dive into remote monitoring, and highlight some of the organizations around the world dedicated to improving the care of patients with heart rhythm disorders. First though, an exclusive interview with the new CEO of the Heart Rhythm Society. Well, today we have the pleasure of hosting Pat Blake, the new CEO of the Heart Rhythm Society. Welcome to the show.
Thank you very much. Great to be here.
So tell us a little bit about what your path to this new position at the Heart Rhythm Society has been like.
It's been a long path, actually. I've been an association executive for many, many years. I started in the medical side of my career at the Academy of Neurology in Minneapolis. I was there for a few years and then became the CEO for the Emergency Nurses Association in Chicago. I was there for a little while and then was recruited to be the CEO for the American Society for Gastrointestinal Endoscopy. And I was there for almost 17 years when this opportunity came up. And I was very, very interested in learning a new specialty, working with a new set of physicians and allied professionals in a field that is exciting, interesting, and growing.
So you are here now on day one of our first annual meeting.
Yes.
During your tenure. You've been on the job a couple of months now. What is your initial impression of electrophysiology, electrophysiologists, and the society in general?
So even though I've only been here for 2 months, obviously I started this in the search process way back in September. So I have had a sense of and been doing homework on electrophysiologists in the EP field for quite a few months. And for me as an association professional, there are things that you look for in taking the next step or the next opportunity, which HRS represented for me. And a lot of that is you look for a specialty where there's excitement, where there's growth, where when people talk about it, they light up. And I saw that in the search committee. So my very first interview, I could see that kind of passion. I could hear the conversation about this is our home. I could listen to the words. You listen to how people talk and you see how they interact. And it felt right to me from the very beginning. But how the exec works with the members is the key to success, and that's all about fit. That's about me wanting to work with you. And I've seen a lot of what I really like with the electrophysiologists and the allied professionals. I've had an opportunity to visit an EP lab so that I could get a little bit of sense of the specialty. I met with people in quality. I met with the nurse educators. I met with a variety of people trying to understand the breadth of the field.
You know, that's as a member, and I've been a member of HRS since I was in fellowship at Duke.
Yay,
you know, as
good.
a member, this makes me so inspired to have you as our new leader. And, you know, as our new leader, I'm sure you're thinking about what our strategic plan, what our priorities are for 2020 and beyond. Can you tell us a little bit about what your thought is around these issues going forward?
I can, and what is really nice and a very, very intelligent move on the Board of Trustees is that they're due for a strategic plan. And they decided to wait until they hired a new CEO to actually start that planning process, which is really a gift. And I said that to them in the interview because then now we can together look at strategy going forward. And so it also, again, back to homework. When you do a strategic plan, there's a lot of research, a lot of homework, a lot of looking at the past and thinking about the future, and I'm now able to be part of all that. So the good news is that we are starting the strategic planning process even as we speak. We will start working with our facilitator. In fact, he is here at this meeting to observe the board and to look at scientific sessions, because as we know, it's very hard to understand an organization like HRS without seeing something like scientific sessions. I mean, it is the heart and soul of who the organization is. And of course, it's not for me to say what the organization will focus on. It is only for me to help provide the information, make sure the right questions are asked, and be part of the process. But things we'll be talking about. We'll be talking about the role, the HRS's global role. What is our role in the world? Allied professionals, how do we grow that? What do we do with that programming? What kind of support can we provide that part of our organization? The research community, they have a research agenda. How do we help support that? What can we do with that? Quality improvement, big area in medicine. What is HRS's role in the whole quality arena? Scientific sessions, is this built the way it needs to be built? Is this program built the way it needs to go into the future? Regional programming, digital learning. We have a new learning management system that we're very excited about. What do we do with that? How much focus is on that? Member engagement. All of those things are pieces that we'll be looking at, talking about, and prioritizing.
It's clearly a very exciting time for the Heart Rhythm Society, and as a member, I feel very fortunate to have you leading the way with us. And I wanted to thank you for being on the show today and spending time with us at Heart Rhythm TV.
I appreciate that. Thanks for the invitation.
Remote monitoring of implantable devices allow clinicians to collect a wide range of health and device data directly from patients while they are at home. These data can directly impact patient care and outcomes, including death, hospitalization, and stroke. Why is remote monitoring crucial for patients with heart rhythm disorders? Let's find out next. Today, we're joined by Dr. Rohit Mehta from the Sanger Heart and Vascular Institute. Dr. Mehta, welcome to the show.
Kevin, thanks for having me on here.
Tell us a little bit about what you believe the importance of remote monitoring to be in the care of the device patient.
In EP, we do a lot of things that I think are occult, and part of our job is to take care of a patient. Patients have these devices that are there, and they're going through their care paradigm in healthcare, and there's information contained within that can help their care overall. And for years, it's just been kind of siloed in this area, and now it's bursting out in the age of data. And so remote monitoring is our ability to pull that data forward into the clinical space and really help contribute to the care of the patient in a meaningful fashion. And as you know, the data regarding remote monitoring is robust in that patients really receive a significant mortality benefit when they participate.
Exactly, and you bring up a good point. This is an enormous influx of data into the office, and to be honest, it's often hard to manage. How do you see automation, artificial intelligence, and things like that playing a role in managing this type of data flow?
I think it's going to be critical. I think, number one, the point of care is really where the information needs to be delivered. And in our current form, we spend a lot of time processing this. And I think artificial intelligence, deep learning, really will help us categorize this and provide it to clinicians at the point of care. So I think one of the critical pieces is having a way to manage that data in an efficient fashion. It's hard in today's environment with resources being constrained, and so there are a lot of partnerships that are developing outside of our internal clinical world to help us do this.
One of your other passions, as we both know, is talking about sudden cardiac death in the community and supporting awareness, and you're involved with the Omar Carter Foundation. Tell us a little bit about that foundation and what the foundation is doing to increase public awareness of heart health.
It's really been a passion of mine. Omar Carter is actually was a basketball player, and I think still is, and actually grew up playing basketball alongside Steph Curry in his high school days. Had gone on to play at Appalachian State, and in preparation for a run at the NBA, he was playing professionally in Brazil at the time, and was in Charlotte for a pro-am, and actually had sudden death on the court. Had it not been for my nurse making a last-minute decision to come to the game, he likely wouldn't be here. And so despite the fact that 200 people were surrounding him, staring at him, she was the only one that was able to do CPR, knowledgeable enough, and got him to attention and back to life. And so Omar, he's really an incredible individual. He really thought of that moment and didn't think of himself, but thought of the community and others that could benefit from that. And so we started the Omar Carter Foundation a little over 5 years ago. His goal is any willing person, whether it be a school, whether it be a faith-based organization, we're going to be there teaching CPR, talking about AED use, talking about healthcare in general, and how do you provide access to it? How do you provide the prevention of these things? And this, again, like we talked about with remote monitoring, there's data and there's information, right? So I think there's some places that really provide a lot of data and feed it forward to us, but really don't provide information. And so a lot of web-based, AI-based platforms are really providing information that hopefully can prevent Omar from being another story.
Thank you so much for joining us today on the show, and we look forward to having you back next time.
Great. Thanks a lot for having me, Kevin.
Today we're with Dr. Andrea Rousseau, who is the new president of the Heart Rhythm Society. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you.
So
Great to be
this
here.
is the 40th anniversary of the Heart Rhythm Society's annual scientific sessions. How in the world did we get here?
The theme of this meeting and the theme of the plenary session was storytelling. So if you look back, things started back in 1979. There were 4 electrophysiologists who decided that we needed a society that concentrates and focuses on treatment of patients with pacing and heart rhythm disorders. So we began back then. And things, really grew. About 25 years later, that was in Boston, and 25 years later, initially the name was the North American Society of Pacing and Electrophysiology, or NASPE. But after that, we realized that it's not really representative of what we really do, what our mission is necessarily, and our reach is much wider than North America. So at that point, everything moved down to Washington, D.C., and the society became the Heart Rhythm Society, or HRS. Over the years, we've had lots of growth in technology, working with industry partners, lots of innovation going on, lots of fellows now training when there weren't really fellows initially, informal training programs, and so that's why we're here we're at today, where we have over 7,000 members of the society. Came a long way.
Well, we're so happy to have you as the incoming president. I've known you for a long time, and I'm so excited to see what you do. And with that in mind, what do you think the biggest challenges facing the society in 2020 are going to be?
Well, I think we're all going to have a lot of challenges in medicine. I think specific to the Heart Rhythm Society is, this kind of venue, what we're doing here at this meeting in San Francisco, although we hope to continue to do this and to capture this, one-on-one, face-to-face meeting, and I think we will do that indefinitely, but we need to really expand beyond that. We need to deliver education in a variety of different ways. We need to deliver it 365 days of the year. We need to deliver it in between meetings more effectively. We do some now, but we need to expand upon that and really reach everyone in different countries. So just beyond the society level, though, we really do have this in all of electrophysiology. We need to reach patients who are in a variety of different countries who don't have what we have here. We're very fortunate to have what we have in the United States. When we have to find a way that we as global citizens and a global society can really reach out and work with other societies locally to deliver the education and materials for them to take care of patients everywhere.
I think that's a remarkable vision, and I look forward to seeing all this come to fruition over the next several years. But right now, today, what do you think our biggest opportunities are in 2020 as a society?
Well, I think as we're doing for the first time at this meeting, the Digital Health Summit, and thank you for being involved in that. We appreciate that, and we want to get the input from a variety of different stakeholders. Now that we have digital health and we have things like wearable devices, in terms of arrhythmia care, how do we diagnose problems before there's major problems? Like, for example, with atrial fibrillation, it's become an epidemic, right? We have millions of people having atrial fibrillation. The incidence increases as time goes on, so more and more people are having atrial fibrillation. How will we handle that, and how can we get to patients before they have bad consequences of this, and hopefully some of our wearable technology will help in that regard. I think opportunities on the society level, we've been doing some of it, but we need to continue to expand our reach. We've been working with international societies throughout the globe. I've had the opportunity to do some of this travel already to places that don't have all the electrophysiologists we have right now. But so how can we work to collaborate, deliver education everywhere, and help our partners, throughout the world?
Well, there's exciting times ahead at the Heart Rhythm Society, and we're so grateful for you taking the time to be on the show today. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you for having me. Appreciate it.
The cardiac electrophysiology team at Kaiser Permanente Los Angeles Medical Center does not simply believe that every patient is every doctor's patient, they actively practice that belief, from morning conferences to their daily evening sign-out. These strategic touch points are just one example of how the Kaiser Permanente EP team seeks and provides feedback on each and every patient's case and stays up to date on the latest research and technologies. Let's take a closer look.
The reason why I like to come to work is the excitement and uncertainty of cardiac electrophysiology, but most importantly to be able to practice in an environment with people I call my friends.
We really are a team effort here at Kaiser, and I think that that's what is one of our greatest strengths, is that we don't have to be afraid of offering or asking for help from other people, because our prestige, our everything else is not dependent upon that. All that we care about is patient care, and the more people that we have involved in the care provides a better experience and a better healthcare for the patient.
Kaiser Permanente is a unique structure. It's a relationship between a health plan, a hospital plan, and a private medical group. I am part of a private medical group called Southern California Permanente Medical Group, and we like to call this Permanente Medicine.
The integrated model of the Kaiser system allows easy collaboration between physicians for the care of the patients, because every patient is every doctor's patient. Nowhere else would you go to see an electrophysiologist and the first thing you hear is you need a mammogram or you need a colonoscopy, and by the way, I'm giving you your flu shot.
One of the unique aspects of our delivery of care for electrophysiology in Southern California is we have a centralized approach. Kaiser Permanente covers over 4 million members in Southern California, but if any of them need complex EP care, they do come to Los Angeles. We feel as though this lends to obviously high volumes, which then translates into high quality with the advantages then of research and teaching.
The Role Review is our weekly educational conference where the fellows present clinical cases and we focus on educational points, interpretation of the complex electrograms, proper techniques for ablation, and also review papers that were published.
For example, 2 articles in press have to do with real-life complications from ICD implants and AFib ablation. With this information, we feel like we can better inform patients and consent them for procedures, and hopefully share this with the community as well.
Hi, Dr. Gupta. How are you?
Good, good. Thank you for agreeing to do a video consult. Tell me a little bit about why you're coming in today.
This is great. I love it. I don't have to leave my house.
Oh, great. With our unique model of care, we do have patients coming from multiple areas in Southern California, and with that can be an inconvenience of travel. One way that we've addressed this is by doing virtual consults, and we've been doing this for years over the telephone, but now are able to do this with video consults, so that we have patients coming from as far as 60, 70 miles away, but from the convenience of their own home.
Now on your screen, do you see this article that I pulled up?
I do, yes.
We have a recent article hot off the press, so to speak. It's actually waiting for publication. This is also possible only because of our integrated EMR. All the data that we need for the patient, from their EKGs to their echocardiograms, are all at the tip of our fingers, so we can have all the information and the ability to do a full consultation and minimize the travel for the patient.
Having access to some of these new technologies in the clinical trials, electrophysiology as a field is really kind of expanding into more of the structural base as well. One of the ones we're doing is the left atrial appendage closure programs, which we offer both the Lariat epicardial approach as well as the traditional Watchman, as well as the Amulet study as well here. Other things that I'm really proud of is the neurohormonal modulation program that we have, such as the bilateral stellate ganglion resection program for refractory VT, and working with our partners, really bringing in people from different fields together in order to treat these patients in an effective way.
So Kaiser has a national cardiac registry, And it's unique in that it really is our primary source for all the hardware that's implanted in our patient population. We use this registry to track outcomes and help us when it comes to, for example, device recalls, and we can determine whether devices are performing according to standards.
So every evening we have what we call sign out, and this is an opportunity for the docs, the fellows, the EP hospitalists all come together to discuss the cases of the day.
This is a time for education for our fellows, continuing education for all of us as practitioners to help outside cardiologists understand what we do in the treatment of these complex patients.
So by getting everyone's opinion and everyone knowing the patient, you have multiple different ways of looking at it and offering different techniques. And quite honestly, I think we're better as a group than you are as an individual.
I believe this electrophysiology group is unique in our collaboration every day in our daily sign out is an opportunity for us to work together, but also to build camaraderie amongst the group. And I think that's one of the reasons we work so well together.
We have excellent chemistry in our group, and that comes from the top down, from our management, our doctors, and everyone is really like family.
The Texas Cardiac Arrhythmia Institute at St. David's Medical Center is among the world's preeminent international treatment, training, and research centers dedicated to the latest treatment advances for correcting abnormal heart rhythms. Let's take a closer look at all the work they are doing.
The mission of the Texas Cardiac Arrhythmia Institute is to improve the life of patients with rhythm disorder. Our institute is located at St. David Medical Center. It has been instrumental in the success of our clinical and research operation. Especially when it comes down to research, we have a lot of support from St. David in providing a unique environment to perform our data collection and to carry on our both sponsor and not sponsor research.
Here we have faculty that really have expertise in every aspect of arrhythmia care, whether it's AFib ablation or ablation of ventricular tachycardia or extraction of leads or things like that. So there's really not a single type of patient that we would not be able to take care of here.
People come here at St. David for a variety of reasons. Many just come here right away because of the good track record that we have both in efficacy and safety. Our institution has probably the highest volume in US and around the world.
We do have a global reach as well. We have patients that come seeking treatment here from other countries. In addition to that, our faculty will go to different countries to perform procedures, different continents, honestly. And so it's kind of one other way to disseminate what we do and to help patients from all around, not just patients locally here in Austin.
The training we do here at St. David's include teaching transeptal access, which is an important part of the procedure that we do, teaching physicians how to use relatively newer technology, and then also a physician and a lay professional come here to see the workflow because we are a busy lab, but at the same time we are very efficient.
We have a lot of different types of research. Outcomes research is something we do a lot of, so all of our ablations, for example, are carefully looked at. Both the procedural aspects of it as well as the follow-up in terms of how the patients do. But in addition to that, we're also participating in research, things like imaging research. We also participate in translational research, early development of devices and tools for ablation. Different types of research have different types of impact. So when we try new technologies, for example, we get a chance to evaluate them and see how they perform with patients, and that has impact. But also just looking at our outcomes and discovering that this approach may be a better approach than that approach, and looking at different ways of doing things is helpful also for the field.
Another aspect of what we do at St. David's is not just teaching during our daily clinical activity and research, but also we do educational meeting.
Education is very important. We have a lot of educational activities, whether they're education of fellows or people can come visit us anytime and spend some time here just to observe. And education is everything from patient flow and efficiencies to approaches of doing procedures, so all of that matters. EP Live is a 2-day symposium that we run here in Austin, Texas, and we do that every other year. It's a symposium where we show live cases transmitted from the faculty here at Texas Cardiac Arrhythmia. We have expert panels coming from all around the world to comment about the cases and to discuss the nuances of cases. And the focus there is the practical aspects of doing a case, whether it's anticoagulation or simply how one approach differs from another approach. I'm excited that we're helping patients. I'm excited that every day we have improvements that have a direct impact on patient care, and every time we do a procedure we get better and the patients get the benefit of all of what we're learning and understanding.
We really enjoyed the possibility of caring for patients that come from all over the world. That's really, as a physician in general, is rewarding. We truly have a good reputation in the outcome that we obtain, and that's really the most important things for the patient. They come here because they have the best shot to get a good outcome.
Now, let's dive deep into Stanford, where electrophysiologists have an international reputation for treating people with atrial fibrillation and other arrhythmias. They specialize in ablation, surgical therapies, device management, and treatment of inherited conditions.
There remain enormous challenges for cardiac arrhythmias worldwide. Over 300 million people have cardiac arrhythmias. 30 million have atrial fibrillation, and 6 million people die of sudden cardiac death annually throughout the world. One of the greatest opportunities we have to solve these major problems in arrhythmia care is to be able to bring a diversity of ideas to these problems.
Stanford has a history of being very entrepreneurial, and we always dream out of the box of the world, if you may. So we want to take that spirit into the Stanford Arrhythmia Center and try to solve problems and look in a completely different way. It is really the first center we have that can bridge to different schools in the university, including School of Engineering, School of Business, School of Humanities, as well as a global population health research.
We've got straight clinicians, translational scientists, bioengineers, computer scientists, computational physicists, and all those people at some level, although they're working in their own directions, in many ways the Stanford Arrhythmia Center finds a way to thread them together.
At Stanford, I run the Cardiac Surgery Arrhythmia Research Laboratory, and we are trying to create high-density mapping for mapping arrhythmias with a new polymer, which was really pioneered by one of the truly outstanding stars of the chemical engineering department here at Stanford.
The reason that mapping is hard is that the signals that mapping is based on are very complicated. A lot of noise, it's like sifting through all the background noise on a cell phone. How do you get the voice? So how do we find the true signal? So for that, we went back and did experiments in patients. We took inspiration from some very elegant, basic work and developed computational methods to filter the maps or to map.
We're looking at entirely new avenues in trying to approach these problems. For example, we're trying to develop a little device that can walk inside the heart like a moon rover can.
Any research discovery is confined within the walls of your research lab unless you translate it. And so Stanford is focused on taking this beyond the boundaries of the university and trying to impact as many people as possible. And that's been done in many different ways. So there is a formal biodesign program where students, including some of our fellows actually, have been asked to identify an unmet need and then come up with a company idea, write patents as part of their fellowship, and then hopefully form a company. But the biodesign ethic, taking something and taking it beyond the boundaries of your lab, really permeate everything we do here.
I am the director of the Inherited Arrhythmia Clinic. There's a lot of opportunity for discovery in the inherited arrhythmic disorders. We have a team of electrophysiologists, nurses that concentrate a lot on talking with and helping to manage families. And we have a team of genetic counselors. Genetic counselors that really are focused on cardiovascular disease. So it really takes this team effort to not only treat the patient that comes to us, but the entire family.
When I'm not seeing patients, I'm actually running a pretty broad research program in what we call outcomes research. And that is looking at the quality of care for many of the things we do, such as these ablation procedures and other procedures we use to treat these heart rhythm disorders. In that, what my lab does is we use massive amounts of data with very large data sets of 10, sometimes 20 million patients, and look at those to look at insights on the quality of care that patients are getting and being able to figure out how we can optimize that care and even predict risk.
Think about the Cardiovascular Institute as an interdisciplinary nucleus that provides organizational structure to concentrate and coordinate the activities of physicians, scientists, bioengineers, and educators who are committed to improving cardiovascular health and also treating and training the next generation of leaders in cardiovascular medicine at Stanford.
So I think really excited to see the young people engaged, and they're coming to the conference, excited about what to do, excited about bringing their own ideas. And I think that's really what is really making us all come to work every day and enjoy the process as well, and finally, hopefully, help our patients.
It's all about collaboration, bringing people together and to be able to solve these problems as a group. I'm really optimistic that we can do that, do things we've never imagined.
The chasm between academic institution and non-academic medical practices has been widening. Academic programs are more and more focused on research, which is absolutely essential to advance our understanding of the pathophysiology and treatment of heart rhythm disorders. Let's take a closer look at the work being done at the Prairie Heart Institute of Illinois.
The secret for Prairie success is that we have a group of physicians across different disciplines in cardiology who love what they're doing. We love taking care of patients. We love to learn, practice, and teach the cutting-edge medicine. There's no doubt patients occupy a large part of our lives, and it's a privilege that they invite us to be part of their own lives. We take that privilege seriously and passionately, and we work hard to be a positive impact in their journey to a healthier life.
What's unique about Prairie is outreach is a part of our culture. It's who we are, and when you look at the physician group in the map of Illinois, we serve 2/3 of Illinois from central all the way to southern. And going and serving those local communities isn't just about that model where we take patients and bring them to the tertiary center for care. It's about elevating care in the local community to ensure that patients can stay local for as much of the care as possible. And then when they need a tertiary procedure, whether it's an AFib ablation or a pacemaker, they can then come to St. John's here in Springfield and then return for care in their local community.
We perform more than 3,000 EP procedures, a number that brings us a lot of expertise in these procedures. We are always prepared for whatever that arrhythmia or that patient uniqueness it brings to us.
This was a biventricular ICD placement with defibrillation threshold testing. I do about 100 of these procedures a year. The primary focus of Prairie is just this culture of doing things well. And one of the primary facets of these procedures is a focus on a precise lead placement and, in general, a very good outcome.
We have a continuity of care model. We don't just put in a device or do a procedure and then say goodbye at Prairie. We keep track of our patients and make sure the outcomes are durable. Many patients I've been seeing for 25 years. And there's, I believe, an advantage in that type of continuity of care model.
Quality outcomes in research are synonymous, and by partnering our passion for research with our commitment to high quality, we're able to achieve equipoise between the two that ensures our patients have access not just to the highest quality outcomes, they have the access to the first and latest and newest technology.
Loving what we're doing is what drives us to incorporate clinical research.
We participate in a lot of studies that have led to FDA approval of different catheter treatments for AFib ablation, different mapping systems, different devices for pacemakers and ICDs and things like that. So we're very active in research. We've literally participated in thousands of trials throughout the years. We typically have anywhere between 50 and 70 trials that are open at any given time. And so we've been involved in numerous studies that have led to new and exciting treatments for the patients that we serve.
We here at Prairie try to bridge that chasm between the large academic institution and real-world practice of electrophysiology. And we help train those EP physicians graduating from academic institutions to give them a chance to practice those procedures in real-world settings where safety, quality, in addition to efficiency matter. All that, I think, is a result of people who are really passionate and loving what they do.
Time now to head back to the convention center floor to ask our attendees the question of the day. Since the meeting has just kicked off, we want to hear what you think are some of the challenges facing EP.
I think some of the biggest challenges in EP and not only healthcare are in our world in general is getting our insurance companies to catch up with our research and our science and understanding our expertise in our area. You know, for example, Ivabradine and inappropriate sinus tach, trying to for the insurance companies to catch up and understand that we really can make a difference without a life-altering therapy like a pacemaker.
I think the biggest challenge is probably isn't a new challenge, but it's in getting trainees and young faculty up to speed in the complexities of EP. It's a complicated field. You see new things all the time, and being independent takes a lot of practice, and that takes time. And I wish we could do it faster.
I'm a scientist in basic science, and the biggest challenge is to try to translate what we do in animal study to human study and to translate that to clinical studies.
I think our biggest challenge that we have is amalgamation of the amount of data that we have. This is going to be really difficult for us to manage. We have data coming from devices, we have data coming from wearable technologies, and how we put this together and manage our patients moving forward in a meaningful way is going to be one of our biggest challenges ahead.
Well, that's it from us today, but we hope you've enjoyed today's show. Remember, we'll be back with more exclusive material about the latest here at the 40th Annual Heart Rhythm Scientific Sessions.